Hi everyone. This is the second series in our alto saxophone and tenor saxophone video series. It's about how to form your embouchure and achieve your first sounds on the mouthpiece and the neck. So what you need for this video is a tuner. If you haven't received or you haven't gotten your tuner yet, you can use the tuner link that's on our band website. So if you need to pause this to get these materials, that's fine. So you need a tuner, you need a pencil, you'll need some form of thin piece of paper, your reed, your mouthpiece, your ligature, and you will need the neck of your instrument. Okay, so the first step in forming a correct embouchure is understanding how the instrument actually works and how we create the sound on our instrument. So step one, while I'm talking, I want you to carefully take your reed out of its case and I want you to place it in your mouth. Okay, so the reed works by sitting on our mouthpiece, and when the air goes into the mouthpiece, this reed will vibrate very, very quickly to create the notes, all right? So if we have a correct embouchure, you'll create the correct tone on your mouthpiece, and it's really cool. Okay, so put this in your mouth. Don't put the whole thing in there because I don't want you to choke. That would be really bad. I usually say as close to the end as you can without gagging. Okay? And you're gonna sit there. Don't try to spin it around in your mouth, or definitely don't try to shove the whole thing down there. That's not gonna work well. You just want it to be nice and wet. Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm gonna remind you how to put your mouthpiece on the neck. So if you have a brand new alto or tenor saxophone, this cork might be a little dry, so you can take some cork grease and rub it on there. You just don't want too much because we don't want it to glop up our instrument. So you take your mouthpiece, and I don't want you to shove, but I want you to, remember where you hold, grab the bottom of your neck so that you're not pressing down on this. And I want you to twist, okay? And I want you to get to about that much cork showing, okay? If the cork disappears, you've put your mouthpiece on too far, okay? So we're gonna pretend that my reed has been in my mouth for about 2 minutes, okay? I would say 1 to 2 minutes, and it's good. You can see if it's wet enough, okay, because it'll change color. So if you look down here, it's, I don't know where the camera is. It's still kind of dry, but I think for this purpose, it'll be okay. Okay, so you line up your reed. Remember, words and the flat side of your reed go down onto the flat side. So you shouldn't see any words right now. All right, so I line it up, and I'm gonna take my Rovner ligature. Remember, the screw goes on the back or the top of your mouthpiece, and the leather part wraps around the reed, okay? Just like so. If you have a metal ligature like this one, you're still gonna have your screws on the right. If your screws are on the left, you've put your ligature on incorrectly. Okay, and then you'll lightly tighten it. Not too much, because we want it to be able to vibrate and move. But I want to remind you of how low your ligature goes. So do you see the shaved part? And you see the shiny part down below? There's what I call the magical line, okay? Your ligature goes below that line. Now I want you to check your reed height. So what I do is I lightly press, okay, to make sure that my reed is lined up with the top of my mouthpiece, just like so, okay? And I'll look at the back. You should not be able to see any reed when you're looking straight at it. Now if I accidentally tip it up, you can see it looks like it's too high, but that's because of the angle, okay? All right, and if this takes you a little bit of time, that's completely fine, because if this part is incorrect, your reed's not wet enough, the ligature is not in the right location, you're gonna get squeaky sounds out of your instrument. It's not gonna be pleasant. Okay, So you should be all set to start forming your embouchure, all right? So the first thing I have students do is to take a piece of paper, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the point on your reed where the reed actually begins to touch the mouthpiece. It's kind of hard to see when you're not in person, okay? So you can see at the top where they're definitely not touching, then somewhere down in here it starts to touch. So I take a piece of paper and I slide it down, boom. It stops right there. Now I didn't force it down, I just let it kind of stop on its own, okay? See? Just like that, whoop. And so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take my pencil, okay? You can kind of hold it on there if you have to. And I'm gonna draw a line right where that paper is. And that's called, what I call the point of contact, okay? So I have my line now where the reed starts touching the mouthpiece. Your lip, your bottom lip, has to be below this line, all right? That way you won't squeak and your reed will effectively vibrate when you're playing, okay? So now I'm gonna turn my tuner on and we're gonna go through the steps of forming our embouchure. So I know exactly how far to put the mouthpiece in my mouth because I have a line. Now you can't really see the line when it's in your mouth, so I put my finger there. Just like that. So step one, teeth. Let's talk about our teeth. When we put the mouthpiece in our mouth, our teeth go on top. They rest on top, okay? Just like that. So, and you can practice along with me as we do this. We're gonna do it a few times. So put your mouthpiece in your mouth and then rest your teeth right on top. And the next step, I want you to drop your jaw. Just like a yawn, okay? Just like that. Did you hear me kind of take a breath? I want you to practice that as well. So put the mouthpiece in your mouth, teeth on top, drop your jaw, okay? And the next step is to form your lips around the mouthpiece. So I have my line about right here. That's gonna be where my lips need to go. Okay, so let's talk about how I did that and what I did. So my bottom lip is made to be just a cushion between my teeth and the bottom of the reed. All right, so that I'm not double teething like this. Okay, that's called chomping. We don't want to do that. You want to rest the reed right there, okay? Okay, and then your lips form around the mouthpiece, similar to a drawstring bag. So I think a lot of our PE bags here at our school are drawstring. You know, the ones where you have just a square bag and it's got the strings on the side, and then when you pull the strings all at one time, the top of the bag goes like that. That's how your lips need to be when playing the alto saxophone. You need to have equal pressure all the way around, okay? Especially, I think students fail most is right here at the corners. They press on the top and they press on the bottom, so it creates more of a sandwich effect versus a drawstring bag effect. So make sure you're paying attention to the corners of your mouth. So let's go through our check sheet, if you will, checklist. So our reed is nice and wet. We put it on correctly. Teeth, jaw, wrap your lips around like a drawstring bag, bring them in tightly. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. My lip is in the correct spot. I'm kind of holding like this because I don't want to put any pressure on this part, okay? I'll do it again. Teeth. Okay, so now what is our tuner for? If we have the perfect, correct embouchure, our reed is in the correct location, we've followed our steps, we've taken a nice deep breath, all right, and we formed our embouchure correctly, you will receive on an alto saxophone, you'll receive the note G sharp, okay? So on here, right in the middle, it's going to say G sharp, okay? Let me show you. So check sheet again, checklist. Teeth, jaw, breathe, rap, play, okay? Well. And I want you to try to get that light to turn green. So if it's not a G sharp and it says something else, what does that mean? Okay, so let's pull up our sheet. So G sharp means I have a correct embouchure. If I'm flat and I see an F or I see a G, that typically means a few things. It'll either mean you're not using enough good air, you're not taking in enough mouthpiece, which means you're playing on the edge like that, okay? Or it means your lips are not a correct drawstring bag, okay? You gotta firm up your lips a little bit, okay? So let's try it again to get a G sharp. Now if you're gonna notice, mine is going really, really sharp, okay? If you're a little sharp and you see G sharp, A, or A flat, okay, G sharp, but it's over in the green, you know, the red, but towards the sharp side that way, or you're seeing an A or a B flat, that's okay. I can fix a sharp embouchure really, really easily. And all you do if your embouchure or your note is too sharp, you're going to pull out on your mouthpiece just a little. That might mean your mouthpiece is too far in, okay? So just a little bit. Or in my case, it's because I use a 2.5 mouthpiece when I should have been using a 3, okay? So let's do it again. So I'm aiming for a G sharp. Let's see what I get. And I'll see if I can show you how to alter your lips and bend the note. So read nice and wet, find my line, teeth, jaw, breath, and then rap like a drawstring. So that time I went flat, so I'm gonna try it again. It said G instead of G sharp. So I needed to tighten up my drawstring bag. Okay, try again. There we go. Now if I'm a tenor saxophone player, okay, let me switch mouthpieces. My tenor saxophone mouthpiece has been sitting a while, so the reed is probably dry. If I'm a tenor saxophone player, I want to achieve on the tuner an E, okay? An E. But your mouthpiece and your embouchure is all the same in terms of setup, okay? So I'm below the line on my ligature. My reed is, well, it's supposed to be nice and wet, but it's set over there for a little bit, so I might squeak. It's exciting. And I'm going to try to achieve an E. So let's go through our steps. You also need to mark your line, tenor saxophones. So you put the paper in, it stops right there, hold it in place, take a little pencil and do a little fine line. Okay, so you're gonna aim for below that line. Okay, let's do this. So I have my tuner up so you can see it. I'm holding it with the other hand. Okay, so teeth, jaw, breath, drawstring bag around, and then play with a good warm air. Okay, so it said F, didn't it? Okay, so F means what? Let's look at our paper again. So F means I'm sharp, all right? So I'm gonna take a second and I'm going to adjust my mouthpiece. Remember, sharp, I want you to pull out just a little bit. just a little bit. And sometimes when we move our mouthpiece like that, our reed becomes dislodged and it moves. So I'm going to take a second to line it up, because the most important thing is that your mouthpiece and reed are correct, and so is your embouchure, because that is the entire instrument. The rest is just pushing buttons. The instrument is right here. That's what makes you successful, a good embouchure. Okay, so we're going to try it again. Remember, I want an E. If I'm sharp, it's going to say F or F sharp. If it's flat, I need to fix my drawstring back, or I need to take in a little bit more mouthpiece. If it's flat, it'll say D or E flat, but I want an E, okay? So here's my tuner. Let's go through our checklist again. So I see my line, okay? Teeth, jaw, breath, drawstring, good air, okay? So if you notice, I'm what? I'm still sharp, and it's probably because I'm playing on a 2.5 when I should be playing on a 3, but that's okay. I can adjust. Sharp is easy to fix. Flat means you fix your face, okay? So sharp, adjust your instrument. Flat, fix your face right here, okay? So let's try it again. I've pulled out just a little bit more. So once you achieve your E on the tenor saxophone or G sharp on an alto saxophone, I want you to play in front of the tuner and see how long you can hold that amazingly perfect embouchure, okay? And time yourself. You can turn it into a competition. So the first time you held it for 10 seconds, the next goal would be 15 or 20. All right, you can get into a competition with your friends too and see who can play it the longest. Okay, so just to review, always have always have a reed that is not chipped, it's in good working condition, and it's moist all the way down to the solid part, ligature below the line. It's even with the mouthpiece, can't see it from the back. Show a little cork, don't shove it all the way on. Okay, teeth, jaw, and a lot of beginners don't like that part. They don't like to really drop your jaw and allow for good air. So we want to sit in a chair. Never play a saxophone sitting on a floor or on a bed. Have a solid chair somewhere to sit in, and sit really tall so that you can fill up both lungs full of air as much as you can, okay, without raising your shoulders. So we want to fill up our tank from the bottom up and have good form. And then hold it as long as you can. All right, if you have any questions at all, let me know.